O you who believe. Intoxicants and gambling and altars set up and dividing by arrows, which is essentially raffling, are filth, devil's work. Avoid them that you may be successful. Surely the devil is trying to introduce hatred and animosity among you by means of intoxicants and gambling, and to keep you away from prayer, and to cause you to forget about God. Will you not then stop? And obey God and obey the messenger, but be warned. If you turn away, basically if you don't listen to this advice, then on our messenger was only to clearly deliver. This is a warning that God gives us in regards to intoxicants, drugs, and alcohol in the Quran, in the 5th chapter of the Quran, verses 90 through 92. This is a serious warning because the pit of hell that drugs can put you in is very, very deep and almost impossible to extricate yourself from. Look, if you try to explain pain to someone that has never felt it, they would never fully understand you. They would not have an actual idea of what you are talking about until they felt it themselves. Same thing with addiction. It is very difficult to warn because it is difficult to explain because people have no frame of reference. If you have never been an addict, then you don't understand how deep that pit is, how difficult to get out of it is. But as soon as you become an addict, you immediately understand. Because of this, you should have faith in God and obey the messenger. You should listen to God because God is warning you about a major pitfall of life. What is Shaitan trying to do with this? Destroy us. Look, have you ever seen an alcoholic that's successful? Have you ever seen a drug addict that is successful? No, this is why God tells us, avoid them that you may be successful. God tells us what Shaitan is trying to do. Introduce hatred and animosity amongst us. If you've ever lived that kind of a lifestyle, if you've been a Muslim all your life and you've never seen that, then it's hard to explain. But if you've been like me and you've lived that kind of a lifestyle, and you've seen people gambling, and you've seen people drinking, and you've seen crackheads and junkies and all that, you've seen what drugs make people do, you would understand why they bring hatred and animosity in our communities. It is true. Everything that God warns about is true. What else is Shaitan trying to do? Keep us away from prayer. In the 4th chapter of the Quran, Surah Nisa, God tells us the only time we are not allowed to pray is while we are intoxicated, while our mind is clouded. And Shaitan knows this. So all he has to do is to keep us away from prayer is to convince us to get intoxicated. And in the 29th chapter of the Quran, verse 45, God tells us that the greatest purpose of prayer is remembrance of God. God says, and recite that which has been revealed to you from your Lord and keep up prayer. Surely prayer keeps away from indecency and evil, right? It protects us. But remembrance of God is greatest, and God is aware of what you do. So that is exactly what Shaitan is trying to do. God tells us, Shaitan is trying to introduce animosity and hatred among you by means of intoxicants and gambling, and to keep you away from prayer and to cause you to forget about God. As soon as you don't pray anymore, you are going to forget about God functionally. You're not going to remember God like that if you are on drugs. And then your destruction is complete. And God tells us, look, obey God and obey the messenger. You should take this advice. You really should take this advice at face value. I know that I'm a nobody and I'm just some guy online, but God is telling you this. I'm not telling you this. God is saying this. God is warning us in regards to drugs. Have faith. Having faith means that you hear what God said and then you obey because you believe God when He says it. Have faith and stay away from drugs. It is a complete destruction. But be warned. If you turn away, if you don't listen to this advice, then on the messenger was only to clearly deliver. And the message was delivered. If you end up in the pit of hell, if you end up in the pit of addiction, and you experience that hell in this dunya, and then you find yourself in the hell in the akhirah, in the hereafter, then you did it to yourself. You were told to obey God and the messenger, but to be warned. If you don't listen, then on the messenger was only to clearly deliver. Peace be with you.